So forming up a set of steps, go from this driveway up to this platform here. So what I have to do first is figure the difference between the height of this and the height of the driveway. To do that, you can get a 4-foot level. Now if there was more than 4 foot here, you'd have to use either a long straight edge or some way of finding a level point. That happens to be 16 inches, which is good. Real good. You can also use a laser level if you have a long distance to go, 8-9 feet or something, or you can use a straight edge, maybe a 2x4, a nice straight one, 10 foot long or something. But you want to get your measurement like where the steps are going to end and where they begin. That distance in between there, which you can roughly guess, especially if you have an obvious slope. That's where you want to take your measurements to. So, which this one is showing again 16-inch difference between that end and this end. So 2 steps or 2 rises which actually would be 1 step, because you'd have a rise, a step, another rise, and then you're up to where you want to be, which is going to be over 8 inches roughly, because it is a little strong. It's a little bit like 16 3/8 or something, but for outside and there's only 2 steps, that isn't bad. No matter what you do, you want to keep each step exactly the same. Now if you had more steps to work with, more of an area to work with, more height, you could divide that up, add 1 more step in there, and you're not going to notice it. It would work out to, you don't want no less than 6-inch rise, anything, and that's even a little short. You can put smaller rises in, but it's not ideal. 6 inches are nice for older people, but 8 inches, I think the code is like 7/8, but they'll let you get away with 8, just as long as you're not over 8 inches for a rise on a step. I'm using a 2x12 to cut the risers out, and they're only going to be a temporary rise because it's actually going to be the form of the steps. So since I have an 8-inch rise, and I'm going to make a 10.5-inch step, I want to hold my square, because all your cuts are for a set of steps are square. You need your rise, which is obviously, we figured that out, 8 inches. Your step can vary. Again, I think code's 9.5. I'm not sure about that. No less than 9.5, and I don't know if there's a limit to the width. But whatever material usually works, which if you're using treated lumber, you usually use 2 pieces of 1x6 or 5/4 by 6 or 2x6, which would give you like 11 inches. Just mark this out. At 8, which I think I'll start down here so I don't have too much waste. 8 and 10.5. So there's 10.5 by 8, and then again move your square down there. It's all square cuts. Line it up with this mark you just made and this mark at 10 and a half. And of course, no matter how many steps you need, you just keep going. I think there's a limit of 13 steps. Again, you'd have to look at the code book to know for sure before you have a landing to rest on. But this will give me, I'm going to put one in here because I think that bottom one's going to be wasted. Now I'll make a little notch here so I don't lose my mark. Probably overcut it and won't hurt because once I'm done with this I'll throw these away. So I got a piece of 2x10, which I got to rip at 8 inches. I forgot to turn the camera on what I did here. And I need to put it on a 45. I need to cut this at a 45 because later on I'm going to want to, this is going to be my riser, and later on I'm going to want to reach my trowel in here because this is going to be the floor. You'll see what I'm talking about later. But I already got a straight line here marked, which I used combination square because it gets you a little better line than trying to chalk a line. But I don't even really need to do that. All I have to do is get my mark, steady it, find my mark right there, and you can see I'm holding right here. That's just that's all I need is that right there. Hold that tight, and my fingers, this camera's messing me up here, is plenty far from that blade. The only problem sometimes you have is that guard, the guard right there will want to stick when you first start. And this only holds true, I mean that works good, but it only holds true if this piece of lumber here is the same the whole way through, which it pretty much is. So that's one of them. I don't got a cut for length yet.